What is up, YouTube? We are back in the garage once again. Show bike. Back on the ground, obviously. Got the dogs out in the garage with me. But we're doing some flip-flopping. Did some deep hard cleaning at the shop. Did some deep hard cleaning in the garage. We got lots of space in here. Still not enough, but enough to get by. Blue 81 Sporty is back on the lift. Why? Well, runs like a top. I rode this back from the shop after sitting all winter. I had some major battery issues with 3 batteries last summer that dropped a cell. Cheapos, nothing, you know, like the water liquid filled. Put an AGM in it. I have not had an issue since, but just to make sure everything's working, I threw a voltmeter on this. Battery was charging under load, but it's a generator setup, so it's never gonna make like a ton of volts when you're idling. Under load, it went up like it should. Regulator capped off like it should, but I think I'm having a regulator issue on this bike, and regulator is for the solid states. This is an 81, so solid state regulators, not too expensive. So I did buy a new regulator. We're gonna throw that in right now. Try and see if that fixes the issue. It's a quick little fix, and then once the regulator's in, this comes off the lift. The Phoenix Fire Barn Find bike goes back on the lift. Then we'll finish up the points timing, or ignition timing. We're running points, but ignition timing, I'm waiting on one box with some carb support brackets and some other little doodads, and that will wrap up that video. So stick around, I'll get this regulator put in. So did a quick little cleanup here. Move the patio furniture boxes over in front of the lower half of the chemicals, which is mainly gas and coolant and things like that. We're not doing any car stuff yet, so that doesn't really matter. Got the fire bike parked next to the shovel heads. Move these up close to the garage door to give me access to that box, which I thought I had a drop-in stock regulator. I didn't buy that. I bought a generic one because if it doesn't work on this, then I'll put it back to stock and use that regulator on the new chopper build that's coming up. I don't know when. We got a couple bikes ahead of that. So that's kind of what we're looking at. I'm gonna run the new regulator. Bring you guys over real quick. Three wires, solid state, not too complicated, but 3 wires to go in place of the factory regulator that we got right here. Unfortunately, I did not splurge and get the stock one with the connector already on it. So we're gonna have to either cut this and pigtail it or ditch the connector and just run spades. As of right now, I think I'm just gonna jump the connectors together. If it works, then I'll address the connector issue and do it a little bit nicer. But for right now, I think that's the quickest and easiest way, especially when I don't know that it's completely wrong. I should have bought the one with the terminal, and then I could have just cut it off and did a quick swap in. Oh well, it happens. For whatever reason, that made more sense to me at the time when I placed that order, and that was 8 months ago. So let's swap this thing out. Grab some sockets, and what do we need here? 7/16, so we're gonna have to use 1/4" drive because there's not a ton of room here. So 7/16 on the regulator bolts. I already pulled the connector off. It's a 3 wire. Like I said, it's not overly complicated. There's nothing fancy to this. But we'll yank the 2 bolts out of the regulator. One on top, one on bottom. When we go through and wire up the charging system on the earlier Ironhead, on the 900, it'll be a little bit different because that uses a mechanical regulator, whereas this is a solid state. There we go. This is old custom chrome. Custom chrome warranty plate. Warranty void if removed. So that's what we're dealing with. I'm hoping this is the problem. So we got 3 wires out. We got a red, a green, and a white. On the new one, we have a red, a green, and an orange. So it's going to change a little bit, but it won't make that big of a difference. The only thing now is deciding what I want to do on the factory wiring. Let me think about that. I'll come back once I make a final decision. As of right now, that connector is getting cut off, and I'm just gonna do some quick little spade connectors and heat shrink. All right, so I got you guys up on the workbench. I don't know how well you can see all of this. Here's the factory harness and the factory connector. Now, my only rule is I wanna leave enough room to be able to reuse this connector if I need to. We'll go through and solder everything back in place the right way if needed. But on the actual regulator itself, on the old one, we had a white, a green, and a red. On the new one, we have a green, a red, and an orange. So we're gonna have to figure out the order on these. All right, well, as promised, I said when you come back, it'll all be snipped. Here's what we did. I got a red, a green, and looks like it was white at some point on here. That one's gone. But if we trace down the factory wiring, what we have here is a green wire, a tan wire in the middle. You really do want to disconnect the battery when you're doing any of this stuff too. If I get shocked, you can laugh at me and say, oh, you shouldn't have done that, but for right now, this is what we're dealing with. So we snip the wires, and now I just gotta peel this heat shrink back a hair. Give myself enough room to work with this. But we have a green and a white on this side, and a red wire over here. So we'll peel the brittle plastic back, and then I have one wire that loops around. But we have 3 leads coming off of this. And if I was smarter, I would have just ordered the stock one, because then I don't have to deal with trying to chase all of these. Anyways, the green wire here, if we trace this up to the generator, green wire goes to the marks. I'm trying to get this so you guys can see more than me. Green wire goes up here to the F post. Oh, there's no room to get in here. Let me clean this off real quick. Quick little wipe with the paper towel. However, here's what we're looking at. Underneath this, we have F for green, that's your field. And we have an A, focus. Maybe this light's making it worse. F is your green wire, right there. A, right here, come on, focus. A is your armature. And the A wire is actually bridged. So we have a double lead in. One of them loops down here and runs back up to the wiring harness. Red lead down here goes to the battery. Green and tan slash, it looks gray, but it's tan wire. The tan wire is our armature. So green on the new regulator is gonna go to green. Red is going to go to tan, and orange is gonna go to the red lead that connects up to the battery. I think. Hopefully I get this right. So the first thing we gotta do is peel back the actual wire sections on the factory wiring. Since, I cut this back just a little bit more. Give myself a bit more room to work here. So we're gonna grab the green wire first. I'm gonna start with the field. Grab your wire strippers. Peel that back. Now, let me grab my wiring kit, which is right behind you. And I'm not doing a full waterproof one yet because I'm still testing a ton of things on this. Which is not the right way to do it, but I'm just gonna do this, wrap it in electrical tape, give it a test run first. So normally I would peel this back, I would put heat shrink over this and do the caps on the terminals so it is watertight. In this case, this is just a quick fix so I can do some testing and determine whether or not it is the actual regulator that's bad or the generator. Because there's a good chance that it is the generator. And I'm gonna have to take this over to the shop. Luckily, I have a generator shop not too far from me. It's about 6 minutes away, and they can do that. If this all works, we're gonna come back and put the stock pigtail sections back on. That's why I left these just long enough. So we'll probably do some soldering on that at a later date. Now we're gonna do the same thing. So I got a male on here, so I'm gonna put a female on the regulator side. Like I said, the quick down and dirty version. These are live connections though, so you don't wanna run them this way for an extended period. But for my purposes, right at this current second, when I'm doing some test and tune, this makes a little bit more sense. So now I got the tan wire. Tan wire, I'm gonna flip flop them so they don't get mistaked down the line. Like I said, you do actually want to disconnect the battery for this because I do have live charge running through that red wire. But this battery is kind of a pain to get on and off. So we did a male on the generator side, so I'm going to do a female here. Can't wait to watch this back, and it's just going to be my shoulder right here. Or maybe I'll get lucky and it'll all be proper and you can actually see what I'm doing. We got a crimp on there, and then the red side will go male. There's actually some words on these wires, but I didn't read them. Hopefully they're not important. Red, it's a tan, and then the last one we got here is an orange lead, which is going to connect to our main power. This is the one I got to be careful with. If I crimp it right now, it should be fine. So how am I going to do this? We'll do an orange female. So that'll be our main feed out, and then we need a male to the hot side to the battery, and this is the one with the charge. So definitely don't want to touch anything metal with this one, or it'll bite you. Slide this in. One more crimp. Sometimes it's easier to actually crimp this for, ooh, I overcut that wire. My bad. Overcut the wire. I'm missing about half of it, so we're going to trim this back just a bit. Give myself a little bit more clearance. I have plenty of wiring and clearance room here. It's just a matter of leaving myself enough room to work. So, and this one being the battery, I'm going to see if I got a waterproof connector somewhere in here. Let me check my other box real quick. I'll be right back. Okay, I don't have a quick, convenient waterproof one left. I used them all on the XLCH, which means we're doing some real janky chopper wiring today. Again, not ideal. Don't recommend doing this method unless you're doing what I'm doing and using it as a test and tune. This is a short-term fix to a bigger problem that I have every intent on addressing, but this will at least get us functioning and working again. And I just put two females in. Awesome. Alright, orange lead will come back off. Need a male, so we're flip-flopping these now. Too distracted doing other things. So like I said, you do want to heat shrink all of this. You do want to keep all of these covered. You don't want open exposed terminals like this. They will not hold up for a long period of time, especially if you actually plan to ride the bike and put miles on it in inclement weather, because this is the front connection. into everything. So now we have 3 open spade connectors. I'm gonna grab some electrical tape and rip around these real quick. Just cleaned in here, so now it's just a matter of figuring out where I actually put everything. And I flip-flopped all of my drawers, which is super, super convenient. Well, somehow in the course of my cleaning, this has become a major issue. Got about 12 rolls of electrical tape here, and I cannot seem to find any of them. So I grabbed a paper towel, because this is super, super sketchy and safe, and looped it in between several times, all of the electrical terminals. Now I'm going to run this up and mount this regulator. And hopefully this won't light on fire. Or maybe it will. I don't really know. This is the worst possible thing to do in any given situation. I'm running a live battery wire right now. With 2 bolts that are just kind of hanging out and a bunch of exposed electrical connectors. So we're going to give this a shot, and if I die or get zapped, like and subscribe, because it'll be fun. That's what it's all about, right? Content. So everything I am doing is 100% wrong in every possible way. Don't watch or listen. I'm running a live battery to a regulator that needs to be grounded, wrapped in paper towel, trying to get this threaded back into the bike. Every single thing. Like, I don't know if I could make a better video on how to do this any worse than the current way that I'm going about it. If you know what the rules are, you're allowed to break them. I don't know. This is probably a terrible idea. Maybe I'm gonna fry the regulator. I'm not really sure. We'll find out together on this wonderful journey. So let's tighten this down. And now we get to test some stuff. So here's the bike. It's not a very, well, the headlight works. The taillight bulb's burnt out. The brake light should still work if I remember correctly. Yeah, working brake light, taillight's burnt out, so I need a bulb. But let me move you guys over to the side. Let me put the dogs inside and we'll try and fire this thing up. In order to start this bike, like I said, I did ride it home. Got the gas on, so that's good. This is running a stock butterfly and P-cams, but it's dialed in pretty well in terms of carb tuning. If I remember correctly, it's between quarter and half choke is what makes it happy. Bring this lift up just a little bit more. Get that back tire off the ground in case it wants to move, because I have no straps or any sort of safety things on this bike. And Sportsters are the worst, so actually we're not going to do that. Maybe I can touch the inside of this frame rail. So this bike came with a Screamin' Eagle ignition box that actually died on me. That's what this little dangler is. I don't know how much that shows up in the camera. Just enough to get that back off the ground, and then the forks are kind of loaded up. We got 2 clicks on there. 3 squirts of gas. Keep tightening this down on the front wheel. Gas is on. Key is on. Just like that. That's how a bike's supposed to start. Myself back up on top. you guys are going to hear on the mic, so I'll talk loud and hopefully this will kind of work. Deeper, unfortunately. Alright, so I'm just going to let this keep running with the carburetor. Fuel valve is off, so it's going to run itself out of gas, and I don't want to keep gas in there. I don't know the next one I'm going to ride it. And I think the generator likes staying off under load. I don't know how smart the voltmeter is. I keep getting weird jumpy readings. If I could get you guys close enough to hear me just talking while I have this plugged in, I'd show you, but it's not being consistent. I don't know how good this is, and I don't have a 9-volt at the house. So I'm going to put that on pause. The generator light used to stay on at idle. It's not doing that anymore. But the thing runs good, it idles good. This is with the gas on, so it's burning itself out. After we take throttle the way it's supposed to, I have to try to cover it on that stuff with it too, but let this die. Choke's completely off. So it's going to idle off a little bit more. I personally like them running a little, especially on a Sporty. I like them a little bit hotter on the idle. But we're also running out of fuel in here. So. We'll let it start itself. Just like that. Now we've got a nice quiet garage again. So I'm going to click this battery off. I definitely need to add some electrical tape and some connectors onto the front of this. We'll do that. I'm going to drop it down on the ground and try and get a couple of miles on this thing, just so we can go through and figure out whether or not that's actually going to work in real world, since my voltmeter is not actually working. Just puts it around the neighborhood. If the generator light clicks on it all, I'll bring it back and readdress that. But there you have it. 81 Sporty, runs like a top, starts up super easy. Gas is now drained, otherwise I'd do a quick hot start for you. I'm getting a couple drips out of the carb. The float must be sticking a little bit, so we're gonna have to address that too. You can see a little bit of gas drip in here, so I'll pop the air cleaner off before we take this off the bench. Do a quick little carb clean / figure out what's sticking on that. I don't know if the float's just stuck. I'm guessing it's stuck from sitting all winter. But get that gas leak sorted out, and then this bike can come off the lift and go away, hopefully. If anybody's looking for a good running, freshly rebuilt 81 Sporty, let me know. This is up for grabs. I'm relatively reasonable, I think. Shoot me a message or comment, and we'll figure that one out if you're interested. Super stock. I didn't have the YouTube channel when I did this motor, but what did this one need? The cases have been rewelded on the trapdoor of the, or not the trapdoor, but it shot a gear out the back corner case right here, which is super common on old Sportsters. That's all rewelded professionally and redone. It looks actually better than the cases on this XLCH, which already look good. It's got a butterfly carb, fully tuned and re-accelerator pumped. For an 81, it should do a recirc for part of the fuel squirt. This bypasses all the emission stuff that came out in '81. Got P-cams in here, points ignition, new coil, fresh rings on a quick rehone, mildly ported heads and pipes. It gets up and goes. The only thing I would do if I kept this bike is drop this gear on the rear. Disc brake, dual disc front, single disc rear. So you got disc brakes all the way around. Sprocket change is super quick and easy on this, but there you have it. 1000cc 81 Sporty. Should be good. I'll update you guys later on this week. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all those fun things. It costs you nothing. It means the world to me. Boosts my ego and makes me want to keep getting out here and jamming away in the garage after 2 work shifts. So thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next one.